and Claire, I'll see you later. Thank you. Thank you guys. We're having a little technical difficulties this beautiful Monday. And we just roll right with it. And you know why? Because we're collaborating together. So this is Sully, and I am bringing you Soul on Fire, spiritual entrepreneurship classes through Zoom, through Facebook, YouTube, and as a courtesy of Windermere Homes and Estates. And so I am grateful to be here with you this Monday. How do you feel about the whole time change? It's, I don't know, I'm still moving into it, but it does definitely feel like a Monday, but I'm gonna push through and bring you the magic just like I do every Monday. So you know how we like to just come together and be here and bring and gather our attention and our energy into this space. So this week or this month, we are talking about non-competition. So what does that exactly mean? Last week, we talked about that it similar to abundance, that it doesn't represent something that you have to go get. It's it within yourself. Same with a feeling of non-competition is that you are clear in your purpose, your place in the universe, if you will, so that you can honor other people in their place and then collaborate with them to get things done to make the world a better place. Basically, let's just go with that. So today I'm going to start, I usually start with an invocation, and today I'm going to read you, when you might have read this or contemplated this at some point in your life, but it really shook me when I first read it. And when I found out how old it was written in 1920, or it's been given credit to someone who wrote it in 1920, but I heard it was found in a church in the 1800s, you know. So when I hear these words of wisdom and I think about applying them to today, it really makes me feel humble, you know. So here it is. It's called the Desiderata. I butchered that. It's Latin for things desired. And it goes like this. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant, because they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are a vexation to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly to the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. Ooh, that is something to think and meditate on. So that is the Desiderata. So the fear that someone else might be getting something that you think should be for you, we talked about that, like a listing down the street and someone else's sign is there. What is your first reaction? You know, do you think somehow that you're not enough because you're not getting things that you think are yours? So we're trying to talk to you about switching your mindset to just knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. That in order to remember that those words, how about that you are a child of the universe, you have every right to be here and bloom like the flower, like do what, there's not too much light in the world right now, so you can shine your light as bright as you can, as long as you're not overshadowing someone else or trying to get ahead of them to advance yourself. So though that's kind of where we're going with this today, is that I'm not in competition with you. In fact, I'm going to try to love you through it all. Okay, I'm up against a couple people on a few listings right now. And what am I going to do? I'm not going to talk about them or anything about what they might do or not do. I'm going to talk about what I've done and what I'm able to accomplish and do my best and be authentic. And then, you know, try to get the deal, right? Try to get the listing. But I'm going to honor the fact that there's other people that are also there that may be a better match than I am for this particular client. So I wanted to I always bring up books. Terry Cole Whitaker was somebody that I followed for quite a long time back in the 80s. This is a book she wrote called How to Have More in a Have Not World. And one of the chapters is what you admire and acknowledge increases. So when you fight someone or something, you give your power to it. And the power you let flow to it increases it, whatever it is. But when you let admiration and love flow out, miracles happen. Hello, Miracle Monday. If you were to flow admiration to your enemy, which in this case, let's say you're competing, you know, you're competing realtor that is also vying for the same listing. If you were to flow admiration to them, finding something that the two of you have in common, the person could be transformed into a friend. Think about that. So the truth is that we are all one at the level of who we are. Our true differences are not conflicting, but actually supportive. So the problem lies in the level of our egos, which create our fears of scarcity and loss. And we talked about that last week, about, you know, being really, it's about fear, you know. So there's nothing to fear when you know who you are. So there's three things that you would probably need to get dialed in on in order to have this and reverse your thinking and give attention to where you're going versus where that person might be going or what they're doing with their business. So you must be clear on who you are. So we've talked about that being, you know, let's just remember who we are. You're no less, than the trees and the stars and the everything that is in existence. You're a child of the universe, right? So why are you playing small, kind of thing? So you must be clear as to who you are. That I do that by my relationship, my daily practices to get aligned with what I call God, which is my source, right? So I know I'm taken care of no matter what. Number two, you must know your purpose. You know, like, are you clear on your purpose? And then when you're clear on your purpose, like we discussed last week, then, and I know everything's coming to me as it is aligned, and I believe and I choose to believe that, then I can support the other person in their purpose. Because what's for me is always going to be for me. It's only going to be for me. And so because of that abundant thinking, which is back our first chapter of this, then I can support you and collaborate with you. Because if you don't think that you need to collaborate with other agents in this business, you're very wrong. You know, you have to start this process. It's a relationship. It's like a marriage in a real estate transaction. And it's not just the other agents. It's, look at all of the affiliates that we need to create relationships with and collaborate with in order to bring that transaction to a successful close. There's so many moving parts. So you can't be, stuck on how you're showing up if you're, or doubt that you're not showing up in a graceful, collaborative way, loving your other, the person that you're in this transaction with, so that is number 3, willing to bless that person and want for them all the happiness and prosperity that you want for yourself. Can you do that? I mean, that's a big one. Love thy neighbor is like, one of the main 2, having that source in the higher power world, and then loving thy neighbor as thyself. But that's the trick, isn't it? You have to love yourself before you can extend any kind of love to others. So that was that book. So let me tell you what I have next for you. So, okay, and that's this, this is old school spiritual knowledge that we have here. So this is another old prosperity classic. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And it's by Florence Scovel Shinn. And then this is another one back in the 20s, I believe. But she has this part in here saying, where is it? Bless your enemy and you rob him of his ammunition. His arrows will be transmuted into blessings. So this is a law that's true of nations as well as individuals. Bless a nation, send love and goodwill to every inhabitant, and it is robbed of its power to harm. So again, we are switching our consciousness, our thinking, our perspective. We're looking through a different lens when it comes to the topic of competition. We're calling it non-competition because it's just so good to collaborate with others and just know and trust that everyone has their unique gifts, that everyone shows up uniquely. And if we appreciate that, gosh, we could go so much further. And I know I'm not talking from some mountaintop or hilltop here. I am talking from a place of, this is my spiritual practice. This is what I do on a daily basis, because I could be up here and then get on the freeway and someone cuts me off. And then I don't know, how I'm not loving that person that much, but I could bless them out of my life. I'm getting better. We talked about this at my spiritual center yesterday, and it's just a reminder to pray or bless a person before you criticize them. How about that? Because it's easy, and I confess that in the past, when I was a younger spiritual evolved person, I would get pissed about seeing other real estate signs, and now I'm just like, awesome, that means there's business, that means there's prosperity out there. People are getting what they need in their life. They're buying and selling and moving, and new life is happening, and new neighbors are coming in, and business is flourishing, because what's good for you is going to be good for me in the whole of our company or other companies or our competition, quote unquote, on competition. So here's another, I'm digging out the 20s here, you guys. This is Emmett Fox, and you might know him from the Sermon on the Mount, but he has written this book back in the 20s, and it's called The 10 Commandments, The Master Key to Life by Emmett Fox. And there's a little passage I want to share with you. How are we doing on time? Okay, so it says, the shortcut to the presence of God is to fill our hearts with divine love for everybody, particularly people or things we do not like. The shortcut to power in prayer is to fill our hearts with divine love. The shortcut to happiness is to fill our hearts with divine love. The sure and certain way to overcome fear is to empty the heart of fear by filling it with love, because if we are filled with love, of what should we be afraid? So we can measure our progress in spiritual things not by outer conditions, but by the extent to which we are getting rid of hatred, criticism, and condemnation. The yardstick by which we can measure spiritual progress is the degree to which our hearts are filled with unselfish and undemanding love. So love thy neighbor, love your competitors, love the person on the other side of the transaction, love your clients. That gets a little tricky too. So it's all increases. What we think about increases. What we think about, we bring about. So let's think about collaborating with other people before you criticize or condemn or think about them getting something that you think is yours. Try giving them a little prayer. In fact, I'm going to read you one other thing out of a big book. It's called The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's a little prayer in here, and I call it the 552 prayer, because you can't have resentment. If you're resentful about other people's success, you're going to cut off your own success. So I think everyone needs to read this book. It's fabulous. And it's a lot of spiritual steps toward enlightenment. But 552 says, if you have a resentment you want to be free of, if you will pray for the person or the thing that you resent, you will be free. If you will ask in prayer for everything you want for yourself to be given to them, you will be free. Well, that's pretty heavy stuff, isn't it? Everything I want for myself, I want to have. I want you to have. I want you to have as much abundance and happy life as I want for myself. Ask for their health, their prosperity, their happiness, and you will be free. Even when you don't really want it for them and your prayers are only words and you don't mean it, go ahead and do it anyway. Do it every day for 2 weeks, and you will find that you have come to mean it and want it for them. And you will realize that where you used to feel bitterness and resentment and hatred, you now feel compassionate, understanding, and love. And I know this is funny because it's like we're talking about competition. What does that have to do with it? But it's all in you. It's how do you feel about yourself in order to just not be competitive with someone and to allow life to kind of go on around you. And so that brings me to another great book, which I think everybody needs to grab off their shelf. If you haven't read this, do get it. It is kind of, I had a real estate office, and this was mandatory reading for anyone coming into that brokerage. The 4 Agreements. So real quickly, the 4 Agreements, if you don't know, the first one is be impeccable with your word, and it goes into detail about that, speaking with integrity, not participating in gossip. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. And then where I'm going to be quoting out of is always do your best. So here's the deal. Here we are this morning. Just do your best. See what happens when you do your best. So, okay, so it goes like this. It goes, you were born with the right to be happy. You were born with the right to love, to enjoy, and to share your love. You are alive, so take your life and enjoy it. Don't resist life passing through you, because that is God passing through you. Just your existence proves the existence of God. Your existence proves the existence of life and energy. So we don't need to know or prove anything. Just to take a risk and enjoy your life. It's all that matters. Say no when you want to say no. And yes when you want to say yes. You have the right to be you. You can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you are denying yourself the right to be you. So that is a seed that you should really nurture in your mind. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You don't need the acceptance of others. You express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. It is an expression of God to say, hey, I love you. Hey, I love you. I'm going to bless you out of my life. Thank you for, cutting me off on the freeway. It might have prevented me from having an accident further on down the way. But again, we're talking about non-competition, collaborating to get what you want. This is kind of, I don't know, it takes a minute. So that's why we're going to spend this whole rest of this month. We got a guest speaker at the end of the month, so that's going to blow your mind. So pretty excited about that. So this is where we're going to end up today. last week we pulled a card and it was peace. So I hope that you got an opportunity to have peace. We're coming into the month of, Thanksgiving and gratitude, and we have so much to be thankful for. And here's today's word. It's trust. Trust in the universe, trust in your purpose, trust in the knowing that you're here for a reason and you have special gifts. You have your own secret sauce. So put it out there and do your best, right? So my closing prayer for today is going to be: the spirit within me is alive, awake, and aware. It is always flowing through me in perfect life. I accept my spiritual perfection. I know that my physical being is included in it, and it is a manifestation of the life, the energy, the love, the peace, and the power, which is of the spirit. I know that this day in which I live, this present time, which is now, is perfect. Everything in my world works harmoniously, divinely. I live in a completeness of this present moment. I know that the all wisdom guides me, the all power protects me, and the all presence goes with me. So go out there, make it a great week. I will see you next Monday, and we'll take on this subject a little deeper in the non-competition genre and collaboration of a miracle morning, a miracle Monday, and make it a great, great, great one. See you next week.